everybody, and welcome back to another Writer's Tips and Feedback video. Today we're going to be discussing social anxiety. I want to discuss several types of mental disorders and illnesses, but in this video alone I want to talk about social anxiety. Personally, I deal with a debilitating social anxiety. I would just like to give a more personal standpoint on what it is like to have social anxiety and other mental illnesses and disorders, because many times I find that people are portraying characters with these disorders and illnesses in a very negative light, and that's not really typical for someone who has these issues. They're just people like you and me, and they don't necessarily go crazy just because they went off their meds or go crazy like they are portrayed to do. These videos are to tie into a little bit because I'm doing the writing videos, but I will also be doing some videos on my personal life and the things I've gone through, the reason I have social anxiety, and my mission for betterment to overcome social anxiety and depression. So I think that would just tie the two together. For those of you who do not know, social anxiety is basically the fear of social situations that involve interacting with people, obviously, but much of the anxiety doesn't come from the other person. It comes from the fear of being viewed or judged in a negative way. So basically, it's just the over-concern of what other people think of you. If you deal with social anxiety, or if your characters are going to be dealing with social anxiety, it is a very real thing. No matter how way out in left field it might be, your characters are most likely going to be feeling like people are noticing all their flaws, or maybe they're not wearing the correct, or maybe they're not wearing expensive clothing like whoever they're around. They're going to be feeling as if they are less than those around them, and they're going to be really concerned about the way they move and the way they speak. They may not speak at all because they are nervous about saying something wrong, or perhaps they're worried that they're going to stutter, or that people are going to notice that they have a shaky voice. They're going to have a lot of discomfort, and they're going to be hyper aware of what is going on around them, and they're going to be hyper aware of what they themselves are doing. Now, there's a very big misconception that social anxiety is basically just being very, very shy, and I promise you this is not the case. Many people with social anxiety are extroverts. They're people that love to be loud and love to be around their friends, but new things and new people and changes really disrupt their confidence. So being shy is fairly common in kids or when meeting someone new, but the difference arises in those with social anxiety when that nervousness affects their life in a negative way. So if they have to go out to a party, but there's going to be new people there, they're going to be very nervous, and they're going to dread it. When the worry amounts to something that deters someone from meeting new people or doing everyday things without fear, that's basically when it turns into a disorder. We are worrying about everything and anything that could possibly happen. I'm telling you, we are worrying about the stupidest things, such as, did I pronounce that word right? Or if I mispronounced a word, you're focusing in on exactly what you did wrong. And other people might not even be aware that you mispronounced it. And it's probably not a big deal that you mispronounced it, but you are focused on that and you feel dumb. Your face is probably flushed now. You're probably sweating. It's a very uncomfortable thing to be that hyper aware of everything. So then what exactly is the difference of someone just being shy and actually having a disorder? When someone is shy, I'm sure we all felt a little shy in our life. You might have been shy when you were a kid, but a shy person might get butterflies in their stomach when meeting new people or doing new things. They may blush and feel a little nervous, but are able to push through that little bit of nervousness and enjoy themselves. They are not hyper aware of themselves. If they make a mistake, they're not so hard on themselves, and they're not focused on something else rather than the conversation or the activity that they're doing. Whereas someone with social anxiety is very aware of what they're doing, and they're very aware of what they are doing with their bodies, with their hands. They're very aware of what they're looking at and how long they're holding eye contact and things of that nature. Most people with social anxiety have a real dread and a fear of meeting new people and doing anything new. We will absolutely come up with any excuse in order to not hang out with new people. Absolutely anything. But when it is unavoidable, someone with social anxiety is likely not able to focus on the event or the activity we are definitely really not able to focus on exactly what you're saying. A lot of the time, we are hyper-focused on our breathing. Are we breathing loudly? Are we breathing normally? Can they tell that my hands are shaking? Because they're definitely shaking. Personally, for me, when I get extremely anxious, my muscles twitch as if I'm shivering and I'm not cold. At those times, I am more so worried about people seeing me and thinking that I'm weird or that there's something wrong with me. Then my anxiety gets even worse because now I'm not only worried about the normal stuff I'm worried about, but now I'm worried about them seeing me twitching and shaking. So this leads to even more anxiety, and basically I get more anxiety because I'm trying to hide my anxiety, if that makes any sense. People with social anxiety really deal with a lot of stuff that's not even realistic. It's not real. Our brains make it up. So if you can imagine it, someone with social anxiety is probably assuming and fearing that that is going to happen. We have a lot of what ifs. We play what ifs in our head. What if they say this? What if I drop this? What if I say that? And what if somebody tells me I'm wrong? Or what if somebody looks at me in a certain way? And that's another thing. We're definitely looking at you and we're trying to pick up what you're thinking. Most of the time it is not a positive thing that we think you're thinking. If you give us a look and we can't decode what that look meant, we are probably thinking you hate us and you think we're dumb. So that is your introduction to social anxiety and what it is like. I plan to get into more specifics in the future. The level of anxiety people have is different for everybody. Not everyone has debilitating social anxiety, and not everyone has a hint of social anxiety. We're all a broad spectrum, and we all deal with it in different ways, and the anxiety affects us very differently. I would love to know if any of you have had any experiences with social anxiety or general anxiety, and if you have, or maybe you have a question pertaining to the topic, if you would like to drop a comment in the comment section below so we can chat about it, that would be awesome. In the next video on characters with social anxiety, I'm going to be chatting about symptoms of social anxiety and how they really feel, so I hope that you check that video out when I post it.